Here we go with another episode of Free Game and Gifts with Blue. Like I told y'all, I just started my own businesses. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's like all you gotta do is put the time and the effort. If you want something bad enough, you have to sacrifice stuff. You gotta let go of things that no longer serve you or have purpose in your life. Because otherwise, things are just distracting you or siphoning your energy, or, like parasites, they're just leeching on to you, see what they can get out of you and take from you. And guess what? In the end, they leave you high and dry. And you spend so much time and energy entertaining all the wrong things when you could be using that time to better yourself, take the steps, You find yourself, they say you find God in the wilderness or in your alone time and stillness. That's why people have like prayer closets, You have to go in a quiet place. You have to tune out all the background noise. You have to, in order to see the inner vision, because we have a lot of thoughts throughout the day. We be thinking stuff, we get this idea, boom, then the idea is gone, and it's like, dang. So that's why I always say, backspace, delete that, hold that thought, because that's why now I carry notebooks around with me, or I write down on papers throughout the day, like information that, I'm coming up with as I'm getting spiritual downloads. Everybody has the gift of clairvoyance. Everybody has a lot of gifts and abilities. They just don't know how to use them, Our bodies, the human vessel, is like technology, Our rituals, our rites, our rhythms, our patterns, they build our character, What we think is what we become, That's like if you tell yourself, I'm rich in spirit. I always say every morning, I have everything I want. I have everything I need. Everything I touch turns into gold. Everywhere I step turns into gold. I am created in the image of the Most High. The key words in that affirmation passage, however you want to say it, is I am. I am is speaking in present tense. You only receive because the law of attraction says you already have to think as if you already have. It's visualization, manifestation, So, in the idea, if you tell yourself that you already have, you have more than you need, you have more than you want. But at the same time, visualize what you have. Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself, and just be grateful. Stop worrying about less of what you don't have or what happened in the past, Focus on this present moment, what you do have, what to be grateful for. Everybody always worrying about, the bad things. You put so much time and energy into those thought patterns and waves, that becomes a frequency. Channeling is like a radio. You tune into something and it might be static, but you eventually you chime into that station, you hold that frequency and that's what plays out. It's the same thing with cause and effect. Visualization, manifestation, speaking things into existence, just like it says biblically speaking, in the beginning was the word, and all things came about. We are created in the image of our creator. We have these same abilities. People, they try to sever your direct connection to the Most High source energy, You got to look at it. We are like, look at it like our bodies is a device, like a phone, We literally, the frequency, ether that's all around her, everything that is, was, and will be, moves through these waves, these ions, these energy fields that surround us. A whole bunch of atoms is what make matter the physical body. The ether is the breath of life. It's the wind, the air we breathe, everything that's around us that, moves through us, Like I said before, your blood is plasma ionized gases, which is ether, which correlates with the sun, The sun has a effect on the central nervous system of the body, just as well as it's the central brightest star right here in this solar system. Our bodies is a solar system. That's why you have these chakras. That's one of my new gifts right there. But these energy fields in your body, these seven, correlates with the seven planet energy fields, and you see in the middle is the solar plex chakra. That's why you always see Christ depicted with a candle or this halo, the sun. December 25th isn't the Christ's birthday, but it is the birth of the sun. It's when the sun is at its closest point to Earth, They said the ultimate sacrifice was the lamb. Well, guess what? When the sun is at its closest point to Earth, it's in Aries. It's the ram. So it's all correlates with, zodiac, frequencies. That's what deals with what creates our attributes under certain alignments. That's why you see Passover under new moons, Ramadan under new moons. It all boils down to celestial movements, King Solomon said that in the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon. He said the most vital information is the natural rhythm of celestial movements. As above, so below, as within, so without. The patterns in nature dictate the patterns of our outcome. So, like I was saying, you can manifest anything. It's like I started a business. Look, like I said, have everything I need, have everything I want, everything I touch turns to gold, everywhere I step turns to gold. I am created in the image of the Most High. But, as you see, look, collections, things, my collection, these is my toys. Look, just got this. You see, I got all the new posters. This one right here, this one's nice too. But they all correlate with certain spiritual aspects. Now look. I just put my sights on here. Now look at this bad boy. Look at these sights, red dot on here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but this is called a red dot. It's a $250 scoop. Red dot. Beauty. Like I said, you can manifest anything that you want. It's not a joke out here. This is just going all into a business account, and guess what? They're gonna match me as collateral, It's not a joke. You can manifest anything you want and desire, You just gotta do the work. And look, all these books is not for nothing, All these books is not for nothing. You can manifest. You take what you got, hold it on you, put it in the bank, create a business account, make a LLC. It costs $125 to create an LLC. Do something that you are passionate about, something that motivates you, something that could be a daily hobby, Invest in that. Find the category that best suits you. Pay that $125, File with the state, They have all these free sites I showed y'all before. You could create your own websites, using AI. Create your own business logo using AI. Go get a free EIN number. That's another thing. When you're applying for this business, these sites where you might apply for the free business at, it's going to charge you the state fees, but they're going to ask you, do you want all these other services? Do your bookkeeping, your taxes? You got to read up on that stuff yourself. You can save a lot of time, energy, and money. Invoice trackers, like receipts or bill of sales, or how you're going to take your payments when you do this. Website, that's promotion. You want to get business cards, you want to put flyers out, you want to post on social media, you want to you know, different ways of advertising your business. You want to have a separate line, another phone. You know, got another phone. That's going to be the business phone right here, you know. This will be the phone that's just going to be all operating on business, you know. You got to have the tools at your disposal you need. Like I said, a lot of stuff is free. You go to the IRS website directly and get a free EIN number. A EIN number is like having a second social security number that creates your business. You know, it's your business social security number, which your name is behind. So that's a whole nother entity and a whole new line of credit that does have nothing to do with your normal credit, you know? But still build your normal credit up. So the key after you do all of this, go to apply as a government grant, get a loan, or the bank that you take the money that you have, open up a business account. Let it sit for 30 to 90 days, you know. Eventually, that's one way to go about it. They'll match whatever you got deposited in the bank. Or, you know, eventually you got some of these sites that'll give you business funding up to $5,000 to $10,000 within 24 to 48 hours, you know, without even having your business up and running. Because the whole point of you getting this loan is to get the things that you need to make your business function properly. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I've been buying a lot of the stuff that I needed over the years. So it's like a lot of this stuff I already have, or I already been testing the waters with before I even went about this. Yes, I've been putting it off for a long time, a long while now. But guess what? Eventually you get to it, you know? Like I said, read, study, you know, anything that triggers you. You find books, you know, enhance in knowledge. Start with your spirituality first. Like I told you, the manifestation jar, you know, this is no joke, you know, like people think it's a game. Like I've been trying to tell people stuff for so long, it just goes in one ear and right out the other. Nobody be listening, but it's okay. You know, many are called, few are chosen. Some people gonna get it, some people not gonna get it, you know. Your health is your wealth. Invest in that as well. You know, got me a new little magic circle, put the candles in. It don't matter what I'm doing, I still keep up on my daily prayers, affirmations, and rituals because this is spiritual technology. You control the elements and the atmosphere around you. You have to place protection around you. You have to, you know, there are certain angels, ancestors, guardians that guide you that you don't see. There are forces beyond people's comprehension at play here. Just like they got high and wicked places, guess what? It's called duality. So if they have something bad that everybody say, oh, this, and that is bad, you don't think that the Most High has forces at play that are just as equally yoked and compatible on the opposite side that correlate with the vibrational frequency that you are moving with and carrying around with you, you know? Trust me, people have tried me so many times, but if it wasn't for intuition, gut instincts, being able to know people by their fruits, meaning their behavior, their consistencies and patterns of what they're doing, you know, I was able to predict what people gonna do before they even do it. The 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. You know, you got to beat people at their own game. It's not checkers, it's chess, you know. You have to be pre-calculated. And most people are very predictable just by their programming pattern. Even when they think they're deceiving you. They're only deceiving you when you're distracted or you're nonchalant and you're careless. I am very caring in my mind, and I'm not just worrying about myself, I'm worrying about other people. So I'm also watching over other people to protect other people, you know. But I said I was going, that was the gems of today. But these are these new facial cleansers I got. These is nice. I'm gonna show you one I got open. But they're made with the turmeric and the kojo kojic acid, turmeric extract, and rose water. Rose water already works good for acne as itself in a toner. Turmeric already brightens your skin and it also clears your skin, even the tone. And the kojic acid removes acne as well, blemishes. And this thing comes with a brush. You got a pump. You can scrub it. So now I don't really have to use this anymore, you know. You see, it got my face glowing. It got a different bright to it, you know. You know, like I was showing you. And these right here, these work amazing too. These are kojic acid turmeric cleansing pads. They work great on your face. You know, I got a whole lot of new. I just got a free gift of some Blue Lotus. Oh yeah, one of my pieces came in. This is the Hello Ice. It's the rose gold chain. You know. And I'll tell you, this is not too overpricey, but it costs a couple dollars. But you know, these are lab simulated diamonds. You know, and they still pass the diamond tester without being too extravagant. Let me try this thing on. You know, yeah, treat yourself. I know some people that be hating and they want to be monitoring. Guess what? I'm monitoring your ass too. I don't have friends. I don't be letting people get all close to me because a lot of people be leeching or trying to befriend you. Trust me. I done seen my fair share of a whole lot of stuff. That thing is a beauty. It is definitely beautiful. That's a beauty right there. Oh, snap. But yeah. But like, yeah, that's the lecture of today, you know. Take care of yourselves. Like, treat yourself. Use your spiritual knowledge and technology, you know, to trigger the atmosphere, you know. Start each day with a grateful heart. It's crazy, you know. My worries are few because my blessings are many. I had to go through hell on earth, fire, brimstone, on my lowest points, you know? And then you see people's true colors, you know, people change up on you, people act funny towards you, but they don't know that your true nature is going to bring you abundance and everything you need and want in life. And guess what? Them same people, they disappear on you, they give you false promises. Oh, I'll pay you back, or I'll do this, or let me hold this to this and that, or only call you when they need something and this and that. Guess what? That's why these people are going through these hardships and all types of things that they're going through right now. Other people are getting better. They're starting to thrive. New doors are starting to open up for them because guess what? They're adapting. They're adapting to the atmospheric changes and it's signaling their inner essence, you know, to upgrade and do better or remove certain people, places and things out of your life that are no longer serving you, holding you back, keeping you stuck, keeping you stagnant. But I'm going to tell you something about a reprobate spirit, you know. If you see the problem and you keep going back to that exact same problem, guess what? There is a cause and effect for your actions, you know. Churches will tell you, like, oh, come as you are. Bless everything in Jesus' name. He died for your sins and everything is okay. That's not how it works. That's a get out of jail free card and a justification. That's a watered down Kool-Aid version of how things truly operate. Being a Christian means to be Christ-like. Christ-like, he said, you will be able to do the things in which I have and work even greater wonders. So he said, I am in the Father and the Father is in me, meaning God is eternal. He said, people seek the kingdom outside of themselves, but the kingdom is within inside of yourself. Because the kingdom is inside of yourself because the whole solar system and everything is inside of your ecosystem inside. It's like Stranger Things, the inside out, the upside down. as within, so without. So if these are in you, you have to go within yourself to project what you want to come outside of yourself. And when you go inside of yourself, the whole atmosphere shift to you. It's like you can control the elements of nature. People call people, this is what I tell people all the time. This is how it worked back in the day. If they like you, they'll call you a prophet and say it's from God. If they didn't like you, they'll call you a witch and say it's from the devil. But people don't know all these things operate off of your frequency and your intentions. So when you start categorizing people and put them, oh, they're a witch, they work in these blessings. Why you think, this shows you that history repeats itself. The Messiah went through these things as well. His own people turned against him. They all demonized him. Eventually they crucified him. And he healed somebody on the Sabbath day. So these are the same nature you see today. It don't matter how much good you do, somebody's always trying to find a wrong in you. And guess what? People will nitpick with you. They'll throw shade and shots from afar. And all it is cause and effect. They call it the Hegelian dialect. It's when someone creates a problem to get a reaction, but already have a solution to the problem they created. And this is how it works nowadays. You see the people in power today. Most of the time, they try to single you out. They'll try to turn your own people against you. They'll try to make it seem like everything that you're saying is crazy. Crazy is just another word for abnormal, not of the norm, not of the simulation, not of the program, not of the collective whole. Because biblically speaking, it said that the path is narrow, it's not wide, and the wide path is what the majority are following. The minority would be the narrow path. So what I'm saying is people will try you. And a lot of this is energy harvesting or siphoning your energy. It's because people know where to rub you the wrong way. Therefore, once you give a reaction to it, guess what? 9 times out of 10, the argument will go from, whatever the initial underlying cause was. This is even with police interactions. If you follow these basic fundamentals, you'll see the same thing in the nature. This is how you're able to identify spirits. But from the initial encounter, what happened, people will wait till that reaction come about. Then they will capitalize on that reaction and say that reaction was the cause and label you as the bad guy, and just because you fed a parasite. The moment you give your energy to, the moment you start over-explaining yourself, the moment you start, feeling like you have to validate something for something that is beneath you and lower than you, that's how you lower your frequency. You become on a low vibration and equally yoked. That's the same thing that you're encountering and dealing with. And the simple fact that you keep going through it over and over and over again in a loop, that means that you are trapped and you are stagnant because this certain person, you ever heard the Smokey Robinson song? You really got a hold on me, really got a hold on me, really got a hold on me. This is what you call jumping spirits. Jumping spirits, leeching spirits, they get a hold on you, keep you stuck, stagnant. And before, they didn't call these things depression and bipolar. They called them demons, exactly what they were. These are entities, are energies. These energies of these leaping spirits are jumping onto you to siphon your energy, which were like energy vampires, which are like leeches and parasites, taking your blood, your life essence, and drawing away. Because if you're not whole, you're fragmented and partial. To be whole is to be holy. You got to deal with your whole self, your whole brain, your whole essence. But if it's partial and you all over the place, like I said, throughout the day, you channel stuff and don't even know. You get these ideas, you're in a good mood right now. As soon as you step into this spot over here, next thing you know, the mood shifts, change, you don't know, and then you don't even know why you're mad half the time. And sometimes some people don't even acknowledge what's happening to them in the moment, and they, rub that shit off on somebody else. And now we got more jumping, leeching spirits. That's why the good book says, please forgive them, they know not what they do. Deaf, dumb, and blind. They don't see what's right there in plain sight, right in front of their faces, all the signs and indicators, because People could lie to you, but consistencies and patterns will never lie to you. You know, that's why a lot of people, they don't want to deal with me because I am a Virgo. I am an analytical person. I see everything. But sometimes, you know, you got to play people at their own game. You know, you act like you don't see it. Act nonchalant. Act like you're not the aggressor. But the whole time, you know what you can already do to this person. You know? Half the time, most people don't know. I can have a strap on me. Nobody will never even know I got a strap on me. But it's not for show. But it's when the time comes, it comes, you know. People will encounter you and think that, you know, they doing this, and that, or about to put you in a situation. It could be an encounter with law enforcement, somebody on the streets or whatever, you know, just try to lure you somewhere. I walk around with body cameras at night, you know. Same way I got everything surveilled down from this one, that hallway, you know, this one 24/7, can monitor everything through this way. Then out back, you see the ring doorbell, because I monitor stuff. I don't put nothing past nobody. Got another one to hook up at any given time, you know, that'll rotate. You know, I got so many different things, you know. You gotta have these tools and gadgets. Got cameras everywhere. This one, you know, I even got pen cameras, you know. Sometimes they say you can't go in the courthouse with your phone, and they always trying to do something deceptive, or, you know, you got to have these encounters. This would be a pen it's just sitting right on your chest. Most people don't even know that this is a whole camera. Bang. You can record anything at any given time because people are deceptive out here. You go in hotel rooms and different places. You ever wonder why you could be somewhere or something's going on, but somehow a motherfucker knew where you was gonna be at right before you was there? Or it seemed like everything just went sideways and left, you know? It's not because it's always you. You don't realize the people that you're associating with or talking to. Some people move so sloppy, they don't realize once this person's phone is tapped or they caught up in something, but by them contacting you, now you become a part of that because they became a gateway for these other entities or individuals to monitor you because they're monitoring them, you know, and now, you know, your privacy is no longer privacy, it's public, and guess what? People, they feed off of your crisis or what you're going through to basically, you know, find ways and openings to get to you to, you know, make certain things happen. This has happened so many times. The playbook has always been the same throughout history. If you know how these plays work, these entities and people, places, and things do not have much power, but they have strategic strategy and tactics that they use, you know, to make certain things happen, you know, and they go play by play. If this one don't work, they come in with the next solution, and they always follow. But the main thing that they're waiting for to feed off is for you to slip up, give consent, or eventually give into it, or make one wrong move, and guess what? Now they secretly undermined you and put you in this situation, you know? So just be mindful and aware of those types of things. But it's very real, and I'm gonna just leave it at that because I can go on and on and on and on all day, but it's been real, you know? Like, share, and subscribe, and y'all know where I'm at.